if you follow South Carolina politics like me, then there's something wrong with you. And so I don't know if you're familiar with South Carolina. So Mark Sanford was the governor of South Carolina back in 2008 ski, right around there, 2009 ski, right?
Right.
And he's a big law and order, big family values, big I'm a Christian and God and trust and family values and values of families. And so what happened was he met this woman from Argentina who's pretty hot and turns out younger than his wife. Who'd have figured that?
Wow, that never happens.
Whoever has an affair with someone older than their wife.
A blind man.
I met this woman, honey. I don't know. She's about 10 years your senior,
and not attractive at all.
I felt like, I can't wait around for Social Security. I don't want to wait around.
We're going to live off her fixed income.
I'm going to live off that Social Security. So So he went out and he had. But the deal was that he's such a right-wing values of family, Christian family values guy, that he had to lie about it. He told people he was going hiking on the Appalachian Trail, right? Which I guess that, I don't know if that's code for anal sex, but it sounds like it, right?
It is now.
Doesn't it sound like it? So, I was going hiking on the Appalachian Trail.
If you know what I'm talking about, and I think you do.
And
wink.
So he got caught, and so they caught him. He was actually using government money to go have an affair with his Argentinian mistress down in Argentine. And she was sexy. I don't blame him, But here's why I do blame him, right? Is because he said this when Bill Clinton was famously caught defiling the office of the president. It's hard you don't defile it with war crimes or illegal. You what you do? Blowjobs. It's the only way. The only
surveillance.
War crimes, illegal wiretaps does not defile the Oval Office.
Starting a war.
It's only you have to pull your pants down, or at least open a zipper to defile.
If you have fun in the Oval Office, that's bad.
That's
no fun in the Oval Office.
No good
We
times.
have to make a rule about that.
So the reason why Mark Sanford is a colossal douchebag, and why I want to make fun of him right now, is because before he got caught, here's what he said about Bill Clinton.
What the American public cares about is the issue of integrity and the issue of trust, because if they don't trust their lawmaker, they won't trust the laws that the lawmakers create.
Yeah, see, now that's how he used to feel until he
met this attractive woman from Argentina.
Yeah, until he got a piece of ass on the side himself. And then he was like, the trust is a very fluid situation.
I've been tough on this BJ thing, and maybe we need to take another look at it.
I need to take another look at it through the eyes of a hot chick. And so he won. So he's coming back so he had to quit. He had to quit being the governor when he got caught with that woman. But now he's coming back. He's running for Congress in South Carolina. He won the Republican nomination. So here he is at his victory party. He's giving a speech. And he's on stage giving a speech, and his 3 kids are there too. His 3 kids are there.
Right.
Okay? And guess who else is on stage with him? Let's go to the tape.
I thank you, I guess, to my fiancée Belen, who's right here behind me, for her long suffering as she put up with me being on the road for more than just a few months. And I thank you for that as well.
Yeah, you guessed it. There he is, standing there with his mistress. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Wow, Governor, are you standing on a ladder, or are those your balls?
Get a load of this.
And he's doing it in front of his children there. He calls his fiancée his long-suffering fiancée in front of his kids, when his wife, who actually is long-suffering, is sitting at home because he's standing up there with Eva Peron. Wow. He likes to thank her. Because I like to thank my fiance, who also put up with me being a lying, hypocritical douchebag, but agreed to marry me so I can run for office again, and I really appreciate it.
It was the only way that I could run was to get married, because it's the South.
And I like how he does it, like it's totally normal. Like it's totally, I'm up here with my kids. Here's my fiance, who remember the whole thing. Remember
Everything's kosher now, no problem. We're getting married. God thinks it's a good thing.
Yeah, here's the symbol. Exactly. Here's the symbol of my sin against God, my state, and my family. Here she is, right here. I didn't leave her.
But look at her.
Just
look at her.
Would you leave her? Son of a bitch, she's hot.
Who could blame me?
So, I mean, talk about sticking it in your face, right? It's like...
Kind of.
Yeah, remember how I got caught banging a broad outside my marriage and how I got caught lying about? Well, here she is, and her nickname is fucking Shameless. Okay. So, so he, even with his out-of-wedlock F partner standing behind him over his shoulder, he still decides to play the Christian card. Here he is with the Christian card.
I want to thank my God.
Yeah.
It's not your God, it's my God.
I want to thank my God because, you know, because God knows that sometimes you just got to bust a nut.
If God don't know that, nobody does.
Every night I prayed to God you'd buy this forgiveness horseshit, and sure enough, you did. It's amazing.
You're a bunch of rednecks.
He wants to think he's God. He
Yes,
wants to think he's God.
My personal God.
And I know that this chick standing behind me is a physical representative of the fact that I really couldn't give two shits about God or my marriage or my sons. But some people, and by some people I mean the voters of the 1st District of South Carolina, will still gobble this shit up. So here goes. I want to thank my God.
And they did.
And he did. He's got more to say about God. Let's hear it.
You know, I used to cringe when somebody would say, okay, I want to thank my God. It was at that point, okay, this is getting uncomfortable.
It is getting uncomfortable. He's right.
Yes. He used to cringe when someone would say, I want to thank my God. But he cringed even harder at the thought of having to get a real job.
Those suck.
So here he is, back peddling the horseshit. Yeah. Okay, so let's go to the next clip.
But once you've really received God's grace and seen it reflected in others, you cannot stop for a moment and publicly acknowledge that grace and that difference he's made in my life and he's making in so many lives across this state, across this nation, and certainly in this campaign. And while God may be a God of second chances, at times voters are a little bit less forgiving.
It is funny. They're not going to forgive me for begging this chick right over. Sometimes the voters are a little harder on you than God. Isn't it funny that God that you can't hear actually talk is a lot easier on you than the people we actually can hear talk? Isn't that funny? Yeah, it's hilarious. Oh,
I'm a scumbag, but the people didn't seem to get that, and they voted for me. Thank you.
And who is the God he's thanking anyway, right? Who is doing all this forgiveness? I don't think that you could... Is his God Zeus? I mean, because I don't think that Southern fried Jesus that I know of is not cool with you banging someone outside your marriage, ruining the marriage that no man's supposed to put asunder, and then staying with that. Well, I don't think...
If you're really, really sorry, if you're really, really sorry, you will be forgiven.
Yeah, and then what God does is arrange that even though you've defiled your marriage and ridiculed God's law, he still arranges it so you can remain a beloved public figure. That's what God does, right?
He's a great God.
But guess what? You would think Mark Sanford wouldn't have a political friend in the world after what he did, after the hypocrisy. And I would compare him to Bill Clinton. You know, the difference between Mark Sanford and Bill Clinton is that Bill Clinton stayed with his family. That's right.
That's true.
He didn't stay with Monica Lewinsky and humiliate Hillary Clinton and make them leave him. And no,
right.
He was like, I'm going to stay with my family. We're going to make it work. That is the big difference, right?
It is a big difference.
I guess he does have some supporters in the media. I was watching... Morning Joe Scarborough, and he's a great guy. You know, if you ever miss the comfort of an alcoholic father with rage issues, I just turned on Morning Joe right now. So here he is talking about Mark Sanford and the big mess he got himself in.
Let's talk, Walter. We were saying earlier about Mark Sanford. I'm sure he's because I know Mark. He's never talked to a crisis management expert in his life, I'm sure. But he did exactly what the best in the business would tell you, which is get it all out there. I remember this rambling interview he gave to an AP reporter where he said, this is who I am, this is what I did back when the scandal first broke. I thought he was crazy. It ended up people liked him for just throwing everything out there and say, I'm a human, I screwed up, I'm frail.
Yes, he did everything right. First, by wagging his finger at people having extramarital affairs, and then started having an extramarital affair himself using government money to finance an affair with another woman outside the country. And then when he got caught, he lied about it, and then he kept lying about it, and then he refused to stop fooling around with his mistress to make his wife leave him. And then after that happened, boy, he did everything right.
Way later.
Wow,
Much later.
It's amazing how he did everything right after he got caught banging his mistress and lying about it, and then stayed with her.
Because he ended up with the younger woman. That's why he did everything right.
That is,
because it worked out.
It worked
he
out.
Got the girl.
He did the tough thing. He stayed with the younger, hotter woman.
That was tough. That was a profile in courage.
So here, it gets even better. Here's the worst Democrat since Strom Thurmond, Harold Ford, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you know who Harold Ford is, but he's horrible. And so here's what he has to say about Mark Sanford. The sucking up continues.
You know, I like second chances in life and second chances in politics. Mark and I served in Congress together along with you. I liked him then. We didn't agree on a lot of issues, but you have to admire the way he's conducted himself, and more importantly, how he's taken head on what many people in life would have a hard time taking head on. Him and his family, so I can wish him congratulations on how he's conducted himself in his campaign.
Yeah, hey, Harold Ford, he didn't beat cancer, okay?
He had sex with an attractive woman, and this is something we all admire.
He really confronted it head on. This isn't.
He wanted to do it with her, and he did it with her.
It wasn't a disability. Yes, he really admires Mark Sanford because Harold Ford is also totally corrupt and full of shit.
That may be the reason.
And Mark is actually making a go of it. He's going to get reelected. So it's funny that I know I'm beating a dead horse or kicking a dead or whatever, but it's amazing the admiration he has for him. Yeah, he got caught privately. Mark Sanford got caught privately going against everything he ever said publicly and holds most dear and valued. And he proved himself to be a hypocrite of the highest order. And then he lied about it, kept lying about it. He said he was hiking, wasn't hiking, and after all that deceit, hypocrisy, immoral sex, and the humiliation of his wife and children, after that, I really respected him.
Because he was really, really, really sorry.
Really, really.
And he had a God
and he's coming on our
doesn't
show.
mind that.
And he's going to come on our show in 5 minutes, so I'm going to say how much I like him. And he looks like he might be a congressman again. So, and here is Mike Barnacle. He's got something to say. Now, the reason why it's always funny when Mike Barnacle says anything is because he has a career where he's a columnist where what makes his columns valuable is his integrity. Right? That's why people would turn to him. He got caught plagiarizing his columns and making stuff. He stole stuff from George Carlin's book, Brain Droppings. He made up another story. So he lost his job with the Boston Globe, and he immediately got punished with a television job.
Because that's what happens. When you do something wrong, you make more money.
You make more money. They immediately put him on MSNBC, and the other Boston paper hired him. What's the other Boston paper?
Herald?
The Boston Herald picked him up. So yeah, it was a real big punishment he got. Yeah, he almost didn't get a bonus. So here's what Mike Barnacle. This is amazing. So he's going to refer to Mark Sanford after he got caught. He revealed everything. He told everybody. He's finally like, okay, yeah, I fell in love with this woman, and I was out having sex with her when I told everybody I was hiking on the Appalachian Trail. Here's what Mike Barnacle says.
Mark, let's, if we can, talk about the value of honesty among politicians and in campaigns. I think a lot of people, no matter where they are in the ideological spectrum, were struck by your honesty a few years ago, when basically you said, you went walking on the Appalachian Trail, but you fell in love. So you're out of public office. So when you make the decision to re-enter the fray, was there any fear of that honesty coming back and playing a perilous role in your political future?
So the problem with Mark said, no, Mike, I'm not worried about honesty hurting my career so long as I don't make a habit of it.
And as soon as I win, the honesty, over. It's over.
Well, I think it's hilarious. Like that was the problem. People were struck by his honesty. What is that?
It's overwhelming, isn't it? The man's honesty.
Oh, what is that a euphemism for? His honesty is I don't know what the anyway. Hey, Mike Barnacle, if you would have saw the woman I dumped my wife for, I'm sure you'd agree it was worth it. Yeah.
I'm honest. I'm being honest. I really wanted this.
And you see Mike Barnacle, he's struggling there, Steve, to find the right words. And he can't find the right words to express his admiration for Mark Sanford because somebody already didn't write it for him.
The man is a thief.